I wanted to talk about Buddha's parable of the arrow. Um, so these analogies are obviously, to us, they're antiquated. Um, so this is 2,500, over 2,500 years ago. So the Buddha used the analogy of a man shot with an arrow. And he uses kind of a satirical approach to really point out how silly it is and how the folly of thinking like this. But and we're probably all guilty of it. Um, so anyway, he talks about how a man shot with an arrow would refuse to get treatment until he knew, and they just goes on and on, many examples. He talks about until I knew what caste he was, whether he was a Brahmin or whether he was of the warrior caste or of the lower caste, what town he came from, whether he was dark or fair, things that are completely irrelevant. And we can see in this example how that it's ludicrous. This man has been shot by an arrow. It could be a life or death situation. The importance is the healing, and he's worried about minutia. He's worried about irrelevant facts, whether the bow was made out of this wood and that wood, who fashioned the arrow. And it really highlights how this type of thinking doesn't benefit us. So you can apply that to the teaching, and I just did a talk about Molukya and speculative views, being enamored by speculative views. Um, so this ties into that. So um, we have this urgent matter at hand, that's life and death, and how we live our lives, and the uncertainty of um, when our time is up, and we get caught up in these conceptual minutia. And really, we should be focusing on healing, on freeing ourselves, healing our mind, living free. And so that is the parable of the two arrows, and I found that to be quite elucidating, and it ties into all this stuff, kind of ties in together, ties into the Mulukya Sutta. It also ties into the Bahiya Sutta, of which I have a talk, and Bahiya talks about how life is uncertain, and he doesn't know how much time he has. He wants to hear the important teachings so he can live his life um, in a way that he won't regret.